สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันนางสาวกิติพร บุญยนภาพพงศ์ นักศึกษาระดับปริญญาโท สาขาภาษาอังกฤษและการสื่อสาร ภาควิชาภาษาอังกฤษ คณะมนุษยศาสตร์ มหาวิทยาลัยเชียงใหม่ ขอนำเสนอผลงานเรื่อง การสร้างชุมชนนักปฏิบัติในกลุ่มไลน์ผ่านวัฒกรรมการสื่อสารโดยใช้คอมพิวเตอร์เป็นสื่อกลาง สำหรับการประชุมวิชาการระดับนานาชาติ ภาษาและวัฒนธรรมไทยในวิถีโลกสมัยใหม่ Thai in the Modern World 2020 วันที่ 17-18 ธันวาคม 2563 จัดโดยคณะศิลปศาสตร์ มหาวิทยาลัยธรรมศาสตร์ The presentation is divided into 6 parts. First, I will begin with the introduction, followed by objectives, theoretical frameworks, research methodology, findings, and finally conclusions and discussions. If there is any question, I would be grateful to answer at the end of the presentation. Communication is a process that a sender conveys messages to a receiver through medium with some noise interferences. The ways people communicate with each other in the past and at the present are different. In the past, without internet technology, people could communicate with other people whom they met face to face only. To contact others who live in different places, they had to use letters, fax, or telephones. Such methods have some limitations, such as lack of modality and delayed feedback or reply. Nowadays, with internet and digital technologies, the communication has evolved from conventional method to computer-mediated communication or CMC, which is human communication achieved through or with the help of computer technology. The term computer here includes personal computers, laptops, smartphone, and tablet. Many smartphone applications for texting were developed, including Line, the most popular chat application in Thailand. Apart from one-to-one chat room, Line has a special feature allowing multiple participants to communicate together in the same chat room as a Line group. This makes Line become an additional tool for working and an online community among people who work together as communities of practice. I will explain about communities of practice in theoretical framework part. The purpose of this study are first, to investigate the establishment of communities of practice via line group by using community of practice framework by Venture and computer-mediated discourse analysis. And second, to examine participation and roles of the participants based on speech act analysis and computer-mediated discourse analysis. Next, I will talk about 3 theoretical frameworks used in this study. First, communities of practice. The community of practice theory was first introduced by Lev and Wenger in 1991. The definitions and scopes of COPs have been revised and expanded from learning to working aspect. The concept of COPs that the researcher used in this study is that a COP is a group of people in an organization who interact with each other across organizational units or even across organization boundaries due to common interest or field of application. Because the study line group is a group of employees from different sections of the same organization. To be a community of practice, a group has to be composed of 3 elements, which are domain, community, and practice. The first one, domain, refers to area of interest that brings the community together, goal of the group, or problems that the members commonly experience. Second is community, continuous interaction between members that create the social aspect of learning. And the last one is practice, refers to a set of frameworks, a basic body of knowledge, ideas, tools, information, style, language, stories, and documents shared and understood by members of the community. In addition, Herring stated 6 criteria to assess the notion of virtual communities. However, this study focuses on 2 of these 6 criteria, which are participation to identify the core participants of the group from their frequency of responses. And the last one, role hierarchy by doing speech act analysis. The next theoretical framework is computer mediated discourse analysis or CMDA is an approach to research online interaction through the lens of verbal language by linguistic discourse analysis based on coding and counting paradigm. Herring mentioned that the popular theme of the CMDA approach is a virtual community and how CMDA can be applied to determine whether a group of people interacting online can be accounted as a community. The evidence of virtual community can be observed from five domains of language, which are structure, meaning, interaction, social behavior, and participation. This study focuses on meaning and participation domains by approaching speech act analysis to see how each participant group conveys their messages, and counting method to identify the core participants of the group from their frequency of responses. The last theoretical framework is speech act analysis. Speech acts refer to actions that one can perform through utterances. There are five kinds of action that can be performed by utterances according to Sears' classification. First, representative acts of asserting the contents of the utterance that the senders believe to be true. Second, directives acts that the sender require the receiver to do something. Third, commissive acts that the sender commits to doing in the future. Fourth, expressive acts that indicate the psychological state of mind and attitude of the sender. And the last one, declarations acts that change the status of situation by the authorized sender. Let's move on to research methodology. The data of this study is a chat log of the line group titled อนุกิจกรรม MM Fest 62 The Activity Subcommittee of แม่เมาะ Festival 2019 used among EGAT แม่เมาะ employees who were assigned to arrange activities for such festival. The data range from 15 June 2019 to 13 December 2019. There were 65 participants whose textual interactions were observable in the chat log. 50 of them were from Memo Mai and 15 of them were from Memo Power Plant, of which 39 were males and 26 were females. The primary language used was Thai, and this study focused only on text-based communication. Next is data collection. Since the chat log is the part of the real working in an organization, therefore the researcher has to obtain the approval first to use the chat log as the data of the study. After receiving approval from the chairman of the board of directors of Memo Festival 2019, the researcher exported the chat history into a text file format and increased confidentiality by replacing the line display names of all participants with attribute coding before doing data analysis. The data analysis of these studies can be divided into two phases. First, analysis of COP's establishment by, and the second one is analysis of notion of virtual community. It is very important to prove that the selected group is a community of practice. Therefore, the elements of community of practice have to be discovered and then explain its life cycle. And for notion of virtual community, the researcher focuses on two criteria, participation and roles. Next is findings. First, establishment of community of practice. The definition of three elements of COP used in this study is as shown in the table. First, domain. Members of the line group share common goal, tasks, and identity. The goal of the group is to arrange activities of Mammoth Festival 2019. In order to achieve the goal, there were some tasks to be completed by our team, including sub, for example, submitting budget memo or proceed in procurement system as shown from the text messages of the participants. This and also members have common identity that some members use the first person plural pronoun เรา or our when referring to the festival or IGAT employees. For example, they refer to the festival as our festival and refer to employees from the same organization as our workers. This reflects that the employees of the organization share the same membership and identity which is different from outsiders. And the next element is community. Members of the right group develop and sustain relationship with one another. There were two stages of relationship development from the data. First, from conventional working or offline working to online interaction in the light group. Conventionally, the employees contact each other and make appointment to face meetings via written memos, internal telephone emails, and identifying place and time to meet at the workplace. These can be called co-located communities of practice. And then Line application was used as an additional tool for working. Now people can contact their colleagues via Line and join the same Line group. They can discuss about work in the Line group. The evidence of relationship development from offline to online in the Line group is shown in the Line chat log. For example, MM1 invited FM5 and FM5 joined the group. And the second phase is relationship sustained from online interaction in the Line group back to offline interactions or in-person events. The text messages in the Line group suggest sustained relationship and continue contact with other members outside the Line group. For example, having telephone call, submit written memos, and making appointment for meeting and site visit. These are some examples of text exchange that they provide information about telephone number or site visit. The last element is practice. Members of the Line group share a common set of language. This can be observed from Thai abbreviation of organizational positions. According to the chat log, the participants usually type ab- organizational abbreviations in their messages, and other members could understand these abbreviations without requisition for explanation or clarification. They realized immediately who that member were mentioning. For example, FM4 mentioned ชอพม1วส11อพมกสมช and other members understand who FM4 is talking about. This shows that the Line group has all elements of COPs: domain, common goal, task and identity, community, relationship development and sustainment, and practice shared vocabulary. Therefore, the Line group อนุกิจกรรม MM Phase 62 can be indeed a community of practice. Then let's focus on its life cycles. Several authors have classified life cycle of COPs into more or less 5 phases. However, this study, the researcher divided life cycle of COP into 4 phases: pre-formation, potential, maturing, and transformation. First, pre-formation refers to offline working and geographical connected community between the relevant participants at the office prior to the creation of the Line group, including internal telephone, emails, and face-to-face meeting at the workplace. Second, potential refer to the idea of forming a community to connect community member. The coordinator created a line group and invited relevant people to join the line group. This also can be known as community launch. And the third is sustaining. Members develop relationship with each other and continuously share information about their work, discuss about their work in the line group. And the last stage is transformation, refer to change of community status. Um, the study group transforms when members started leaving the line group. Since the day that after the festival was completed, and the group gradually lost its member and contents until it could not function further. So the group transforms. And the next part of data analysis is to analyze the notions of virtual communities. The first criteria is participation to find the core participants of the group, depending on their frequency of responses. The researcher categorized 65 participants into three groups, including 3 executives, 3 coordinators, and 59 subcommittees. It is found that the coordinators sent messages most, about 57%, followed by subcommittee 40%, and executives 3%. Therefore, core participants of the group are coordinators. The next criteria is role of participants by using speech act analysis. There were 4 speech acts found in the chat log, including representative, directives, commissive, and expressive. This table shows the number of each speech acts represented by different speech activities of each participant group. And interesting findings are all 3 groups of participants use statement activity most in their utterances. The coordinators use more representative and directive speech act than other participants group, and the executives send the least messages of all speech act, including directive speeches. To summarize, the Line Group title อนุกิจกรรม MM Phase 62 can be accounted as a community of practice comprises of all 3 elements of COPs: domain, common tasks, goal, and identity, community, relationship development and sustainment, and practice, shared vocabulary, which can be seen from organizational Thai abbreviation. The life cycle of the group can be divided into 4 stages. First, pre-formation refer to offline working before having a live group. Second, potential to create a live group and invite relevant people to join the group. The third one, sustaining, that member discuss about work in a live group. And the last stage is transformation when the group fades away because members start leaving and could not function further and the task was completed. The coordinators are core participants of the group. There were 4 speech acts found in the chat log, including representative, directive, commissive, and expressive. This can be seen that the main function of the Line group is to be a platform for information and work progress sharing, since most of speech act is statement, and the executive have less roles in the Line group, but they still have full authority in decision making and approval. And the coordinator, whose organizational levels are subordinate, become leaders of the Line group. This brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your kind attention.